Hey everybody, and welcome back to Let's Examine Resident Evil 5. This is episode 5. You all know who you are, and my friend's family and money launderers know me as David. So, right off the bat, we are thrown right into the action with a quick cutscene as we see Irving walking away from us. So Chris and Sheva are in a, I guess maybe oil refinery area, and immediately we are sniping some guys' heads off. Yes, again, this is one of those, you could wait around for them to kill you, but, you know, may as well be proactive about it. So, jump down and trigger some more enemies. But first, we gotta use our knife on that barrel. No full intro today. Sort of how I'm doing this in the last video. I ended up cutting off the footage of the last video about halfway through because it was much longer than anticipated. So I don't have the nice little time to do a full recap. Hopefully, you'll be keeping up with these. If not, this may be a little bit. Just gotta grab a quick drink of water. Important to keep your throat nice and hydrated while doing this. So let's see. So, Chris and Sheva here are in this. So what's going on here is we saw Irving just in that little cutscene at the beginning, walking away, and there was a quick cutscene to sort of show us a valve. So as you can notice around that there are jets of flame sort of going everywhere. And what we have to do is we have to turn them off so we can catch up with Irving. I spoke a little bit last time about, you know, how much on the one hand, you want games to give you a bit of direction. On the other hand, you don't want to be led by the nose. I think this section right here is it's a nice little compromise. Just because that quick little shot that you just had of that one wheel at the very beginning, sort of tells you, you have to go, you have to go to them, and that is the way that you're gonna be turning things off. And as we just saw when we turned that wheel, just a second ago, ooh, and we're dead. Yep, that's how this game can, that's how these types of games can be. Out of nowhere, you just die. You're not expecting it whatsoever, but, you lose track of what's going on for a second. You look to be at full health, and all of a sudden an enemy that you can't even see throws a grenade at you or something, and you're dead. What was I saying before that? Oh yeah, so, and then when we turn that, like I was, sort of about being led around. When we turn that wheel, you saw the quick little scene of the flames turning off and the guys, coming out near that ladder, and that's just a hint to you that, okay, maybe you should head over to where that flame just turned off. I wish. Now we sort of, I'm far enough removed from when I was playing these that I'm starting to forget exactly what was going on. Oh, yes, now I remember. So, I sort of came to the realization here that, even though I picked up a lot of pistol ammo when I went through the first stages a couple times a few episodes ago to pick up some extra ammo, that I didn't really pick up a lot of machine gun ammo, and that Sheva just chews through it. So I was thinking to myself, I should, that could be a problem. So I had two options. So once you've completed the game once, or actually once you reach a certain chapter later on, you can buy a stun rod, which is basically a melee weapon you can give, that you can buy and it can stun enemies. Or what I did here is I bought Sheva a pistol that I'm, gonna upgrade the ammo capacity for. I chose the, I think it's the HKP8, because it has for its piercing power. As I said before, Sheva, or the AI in general, again, it could be Chris if you're playing through in subsequent playthroughs, tends to aim from body shots, and the piercing capability allows you to shoot through multiple enemies at once. But as you'll notice, I think there's something in the AI. If you notice what weapon Sheva currently has equipped, she has the pistol that I just got her equipped. I think there's something in the AI of the game that basically, AI companions are quick to switch to pistols. You notice now that I just had Sheva turn the wheel a moment ago, I did it myself. But as I said before, usually I sort of default to having the AI do it, because I find that I am much better providing covering support, covering fire, and holding off enemies than they are. I sort of skipped two cutscenes in succession, but that's just because we've seen them previously, and some of them, these ones aren't particularly long, only a few seconds each, but some of them, if you don't skip You know, if you die, just shot. Again, that it's one of those guys who, not to be stereotypical, but one of those guys that kind of looks like Saddam Hussein, and we just shot him in the head. But yeah, these cutscenes aren't that long, but later in the game, more difficult points, you get to the point where you're doing a section over and over because of how difficult it is. You don't want to sit there the 15 or 20-second little ditty. So we climbed up that ladder and we saw that there's a wheel over there we have to turn. So we have to zip line over to it. So we pulled that lever and called the zip line to us. So this is one of those points. It's not as obvious as sort of when we were throwing Sheva across gaps before, but this is one of those points where we're going to be separated, and lo and behold, reoccurring enemy with a chainsaw comes up. So yeah, so that was this is one of those sort of sections where we are forced apart from one another, and that should give you a hint. There may be a bit of more difficult than usual challenge coming up. So what I did there is I stunned him so I could sort of lure him down here and have an easier time fighting him. Oh yes, now I remember. Now I'm starting to remember a bit about this. This is quite humorous because it seems that he's trying to jump down, but for some reason, if you look at him, so he's trying to jump down, but for some reason about halfway through the jump down animation, it looks like it keeps resetting. You can see that a few seconds ago. So he gets stuck up there, and makes it easy for us to pick him up. You can do again. Yes. So you can see about halfway through the jump down animation there. I'm not entirely sure what's causing that. It's because he was failing. Oh, and now he's corrected. Yes. So on harder, the chainsaw went off, so we can tell that he's dead. But again, on harder difficulties, as I said, this. I think it was episode. Probably would have been episode 2. Yes, I think. The chainsaw enemies are kind of reoccurring, and on harder difficulties, they can sort of not be dead when they go down the first time. The way you can tell is if their chainsaw continues revving. But his chainsaw turned off, as well as the spooky action music turned off, so we can tell that we're good to go. So I'm not entirely sure. Yes, so this is going to come back to bite me in the butt later, I believe. Because if I'm not entirely mistaken, I forgot to turn that wheel. Ah, yes. I remember I was standing over there. There's a first zip line, I remember. Right, there's a treasure. Yes, so I can't remember if it's this, because, there are 2 sections like that where you have to take a zip line and turn a wheel. And I can't remember if it's this one or the next one, but I forget to turn the wheel. And yeah, it has to be the next one because I have to turn this wheel here in order to open up the next area. But I forgot to turn it off. And oh, mines. Right. Yeah, I'm glad that spawned there actually because coming up in a second, there'll be an opportunity for me to use it, which will result in a hilarious incident that I will laugh about to no end when it was happening. But the mine, yes. So as you can see, when we turn that wheel, one half of the, one part of the little flame blocking a bridge turned off. This is me thinking, aha, it's barred shut from their side. Too bad, those bars, it's not, Chris, why don't you just reach through and pull up the thing barring it, so you can open the door. But no, that would, all Chris's matter is in his biceps, not in biceps and triceps, not in his head brain. Quick, yes, because I'm going to use it in a second. So as you can knife the barrel. Still not entirely sure what's going on there, if I'm just breaking the barrel with a force, or if somehow I'm supposed to be cutting the barrel open. That part is probably supposed to be tense, as you're waiting for it to come before the enemies, but I happen to. Alright, so I'm going to place that mine there because once I turn this wheel, another one of those chainsaw guys will spawn on the other side of the door. turn this. And if you see in the top right corner, Sheva is zip-lining down to me as we speak. So I turn that off. And once that cutscene finished, played, I don't remember. Sheva goes over to the mine, opens the, picks it up, opens the door, and as soon as the door opens, the enemy, the chainsaw guy, spawns up there. Now, if she had left the mine there, as soon as he walks over to the door, it would have blown up and probably defeated him. But instead, this happens because of the stupid AI. Ugh. And when I was playing this, I remember, I was both so teed off and incredibly amused that happened. It's like, I put that there for a reason. Again, it has to be something. But look at how long that magnum is. Do you think Chris is compensating for something? I don't know why I just dropped down there. Oh, yes, because in order to circumvent that idiot AI from doing this again, I placed the mine on the other side of the door, thinking that perhaps this time Sheva wouldn't run to it and pick it up. What an idiot. So, if you'll notice, the last time I went through this iteration, this loop, I opened up the wheel, turned the wheel. Let's see if I remember to do it this time. Don't know why I took 2 mines when 1 would suffice. Maybe they came in stacks of 2. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so we're in this, I think it's an oil refinery owned by Tricell. I think it's an oil refinery. Flames going on. Again, you start to ask yourself, well, how did I end up here? This is really starting to get really incongruous to me. I do not. I'm not entirely. It just feels a little, shot in the dark where I began and where I ended up. I said that before, but I'm kind of stalling for time because I don't really have a lot to say about this section. Do I have anything to say? Ooh, that. Wait, how did he open the door? I don't think he cleaved the part of the door. Oh, that was a good demonstration of the combo melee attacks I was talking about. You see, I hooked a. And then Sheva sort of ran up and did a kick to him. I like the little animation of if you look at the chainsaw, it's vibrating around his hands really well. The chainsaw is sort of jigging around like a jackhammer almost, which is a good sort of that's because that's how chainsaws are in real life. Okay, so now we're at a part. It's like, why is the fire still on? I could have sworn that was the. Oh, just gotta switch aside the shotgun back because that looks cooler. So why is the fire still on here? I think I turned the first wheel and the second one and the third one. I think I hit all 3. Yeah, I think the only logical thing is to go back to each of the wheels. Oh, the door stays open. Usually the door is closed. I wonder if that's because chainsaw guy. Chainsaw. Yeah, you see, I went up to the wheel and there was no button prop, so that means I can't turn it. I wonder if it stayed open because chainsaw guy chainsawed it open. Did basically he break the lock on it? Is that sort of the explanation in the game? I think I turned this one. Yeah. I had to have because that was turning that one. Triggered the cutscene near the first ladder to a zip line. So that only leaves the first. Okay, I'm thinking to myself. Okay, I'm gonna do something dumb here. It's like, yep, I can't just run through the flames. Isn't Chris really hot standing right next to that jet of flame? Once again, kids, all video games exist in a world that exists in a universe without convection. If convection existed, Mario, would have melted through his shoes every time he goes through Bowser's castle without lava. I'm just stumped here. I have no idea. No idea what I didn't, because there's obviously something I didn't do. Actually, I guess there's 2 possibilities. Something I didn't do. Or, game didn't trigger. Do I have to sit that little cutscene every single time? That's really annoying. Like, actually, I think I may have skipped through it. But if you just sit through a cutscene every time, you know, I do like about these the little zipline things. Oh yeah, I didn't turn this one. I don't know how. I could have sworn that opened up the other area, but I must have forgot to turn this one. You know, I think this stage, you know, this part of this little section here has some good verticality to it. You know, things can happen across multiple levels, and that's always something that I think isn't used enough, especially in third-person shooter games. I can think of quite a few, you know, especially in the Halo games, especially in the first Halo game. That's just one that's freshest in my mind. That it uses a lot of, you know, multi-level vertical things, but I can't think of a lot of. Oh, music started playing, so that means guys are gonna appear. Yep, and there they come. They come running through the door. I like how they waited till the flames were off, like weren't standing on their side, like shooting it the whole time. Ooh! Something just exploded. Sheva's gonna use a full healing item. Thanks. Thanks, Sheva. Much appreciated. I just blew that guy's head off. Violence. But yeah, you know, verticality I don't think is something that's... Because definitely you'll have sort of wide open stages with, you know, tons of cover, but you won't necessarily have multiple vertical levels upon. For some reason, I just feel like that's done much more frequently and much better in first-person shooters. You know, because really good first-person shooters, you know, have almost a musicality and, you know, to how they're played and, you know, rhythm. Third-person shooters, I just feel like the sort of, you know, they maybe have, you know, if first-person shooters are, for instance, Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, so let's say, you know, this is recording in 2015, so, you know, 20-plus years. Third-person shooters have only, you know, sort of really been, at least with this over-the-shoulder perspective, actually since Resident Evil 4, which would be 2005, so 10 years, you know, so they're sort of, I guess third-person shooters are sort of, you know, following that line in their development cycle where, say, first-person shooters would have been around 2002, 2003. So, you know, first Halo game, Metroid Prime, first Metroid Prime. It's Josh, my favorite character.
Josh?
How did he end up here?
You're alive.
Chris is disbelieving. Is Chris like, who's Josh? Or, like,
okay?
I think Chris shared my opinion. How did he get here?
How did you get here?
We were at the
Oh, I'm glad not
port
dealing
when we
with the
were
question.
attacked. And then, well, I ended up here.
How?
Where's the rest of the team?
So he was at the port where the giant attacked them.
Why did you
And then Chris and Sheva used the hydrofoil. I think that's the right word.
The hard
I think it's a
drive
hydrofoil.
containing data
Or,
from
no,
the
fan
Escapades
boat.
experiment had a
Should use
picture
that.
inside.
The fan boat to like go across the
The picture was
swamps.
of Chris's friend.
I imagine that took me like a couple hours.
Friend?
I'm not leaving
So how did
until I catch Irving
Josh
and find
get
out what
here?
the
Like
hell's
Josh
going
looks
on
like, you
here.
know, he's been. Okay, a little bit of a. I really don't think that cutscene anything added.
Let's
What's
save
the
the
story? You know,
chit-chat for
just to catch Josh. You know, Chris is going off the picture of his friend, and they're going after Irving. Where Sheva says, Irving. Sheva's definitely Australian. She's not Jujuan or, you know, wherever it's supposed to be. She's definitely Australian.
Shiva, cover me. Hurry!
Well, the guns make a lot of noise. Like, there's like a good like oomph to when they get shot in the cutscenes. When you fire them in game, like at least you know the one they're always they're like poof, poof. Shoot that guy in the head, punch his head off. That's how it works. Yeah. Whoa, I think Sheva just went to like 30 rounds of ammunition. Thanks a lot, Sheva. I wonder if I can jump through those. No, I can't jump through those windows. Yes, this is you know, another sort of, you know, hold off the enemies until the thing can happen type thing. In this case, we're in this little industrial warehouse, and Josh is, don't know if he's trying to hack the elevator, or he's basically trying to call the elevator. You know, apparently, you know, he has to stand over the elevator, switch, press the button. But we have to wait for the elevator to get called, and we just have to defend the area. You know, nice. I honestly, you know, I feel like most shooters this day, the only way they know how to add tension is just basically to stick you in one spot and make you wait for a thing to happen, and just have lots of enemies come to you. not really tense to me because that seems very artificial. You know, because tension, tension. I mean, tension's one of those. Tension, I think, is kind of one of those art things. You know, I don't know if it's art, but I like it. You know, it's art when I see it. But I mean, when I think of tension, at least in Resident Evil games, you know, I think it's sort of based on the fact that you are against insurmountable odds. But this is clearly insurmountable. You know, this is clearly surmountable. You know, it's. You know, maybe lamenting the death of survival horror. Although it's kind of seen a bit of a resurgence in the last couple of years since the Amnesia games, Amnesia Dark Descent. Sort of reached its like AAA zenith recently with well, there are two of those big guys, AAA zenith with Alien Isolation, which does a really good job of both presenting in survival horror games. I think there's games that are just unfair in the sense that. Not unfair in the sense that they're too difficult, but fair in the sense that you can't hope to surmount the odds. For this, probably the first couple Silent Hill games. And then there's, how the first Resident Evil does it, where, sort of through wits, cunning, and careful resource management, you can overcome odds. There's Alien Isolation. Which there's only one enemy basically for a large section of the game, but it's sort of an apex predator type, and you can't hope to defeat it. You can never really defeat it, but you can survive it. Again, using your wits. And that's it's very much a sense that in that game of if you mess up, it's your fault. Whereas this, this is maybe horror themed action. This is not survival horror, which I think a lot of people maybe lamented a little too much. I think it's a little too sad, because yes, the Resident Evil games, not necessarily, at least the first one, not necessarily that right, inventing the genre sort of codified it and made it into what it is. But my opinion is is the game fun? Is it enjoyable? Regardless of the identity of the series up to that point, am I gonna get enjoyment out of it? And playing through this, definitely the first time I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I mean, I think your enjoyment of a game changes the more and more you replay it. Because this time is probably this time that I played through recording is probably my fifth or sixth time, probably sixth time through the game all the way. So now we have another one of those sections. Josh is trying to get to Chainsaw Guy. Chainsaw Guys around a lot. I understand the you have limited art assets, only limited resources, but Resident Evil 4 had each time you encountered the Chainsaw Guy, he looked kind of different. He just didn't look like the same, guy with red pants and a bag over his head. If that game can do it, and that game's 4 years older than this game, why can't this game make each Chainsaw Guy look a little different? Although I guess hey, in Doom all the enemies are the same weapon, look exactly the same. We love that game, so I'm probably got a little too close there for comfort on that guy. I probably shouldn't have charged in him. Seeing as the chainsaw enemies had kind of a quick recover time. Ooh, but he had a shiny ring on him.
Forget those guys.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Guys with chainsaws, chainsaws is fashion statement, so they have to accessorize. And now we're into a 3-minute cutscene. You're not gonna bar the door; you're just gonna shut it.
I'm okay.
Weren't they like guys right on your tail?
It looks
Aren't they like
trying to blow up
banging
the
up
place
against the
and
door?
make his escape. You must stop him before it is too late. I'll try to find this way.
How can you tell that? How can you tell that what Irving's trying to do? He's just been walking casually away from you.
Okay. Now there's a dock up ahead.
All that you can tell is that he's gotten away.
That is probably where he's going to make his break.
Copy that.
Okay, that actually makes sense. Like, yeah, it's the most logical place for it to happen.
Be careful.
Wait, where's Josh going? I missed something. Is he going to cause a distraction?
Let's hurry.
Or is he just...
Okay.
So is he going to cause a distraction, or is he just going away for some plot because of some plot contrivance, because the game only has two characters in normal gameplay? Also, this little section they started like a lot different in game versus in the cutscene. And now, wait, really? That whole section was? Oh, maybe it was a little breather section allow us to reload.
Let's go.
How do you know what Irving's boat looks like? Seriously, was there like? Oh, I mean, I guess they were doing recon on, you know, because they knew Irving was in charge of the black market's weapon deal going on in Kajuju. It sort of started this whole off. So, I guess they have some intel on him. So I went through that door earlier, but there was nothing on the other side. But the door was there, which tells me it's going to be important later somehow. Switch to grenade. If you're playing through this game, definitely recommend quickly switching to grenades right before the cutscene. Because that is a South African flag, I believe. Oh, there's Bird Lady again. Isn't that who? Oh, looks like someone my friend is playing on Steam. What? I think I mentioned this before. Where's his act? Like, what accent does he have? Is he from Brooklyn? Is he from New England? Hate that guy. You've met him like twice. Chris, I really don't think you have an experience in the city. You hate him. Oh, right, that's where Josh. Wait, Josh had to come out the same way that we did. Okay, yeah. So we have 2 minutes here. So there's something you can see. There's a chest, briefcase or chest there on the dock. So use your grenade quickly. So we have time to run and pick up 3,000 gold. Just to sort of stop the flow of bad guys, so we can buy ourselves a bit of time. And then we have plenty of time to make to the other side, so I'm going to stop and quickly pick up these pickups. On higher difficulties, you notice to our right there's a ladder that dropped down, and a sort of series of little ledges we can remember. I definitely recommend doing that, just because there are enemies running around up there, and we can just sort of run past them. Okay, how long before I realize I have to kick the door open? Okay, about 5 seconds. Oh, right into the tripwire. I saw that right before. Where that big guy just came out, if you go past him, there is a treasure in there. But I felt like I was strapping for time a little bit, so even though I have plenty of time, I just ran past him. But if you kill him, he'll drop a treasure, and there's a treasure in that room that you can pick up. There was definitely a little chemistry between Josh and Sheva there, wasn't there? It wasn't just me. That oil darn blew up good. Oh, now I know why they're in the oil fields. So they can have a dramatic backdrop as they escape by boat. Is that a helicopter? Oh, it was supposed to be from that thing falling over. Because that's definitely like a helicopter shot. Wow. That was a quick cut. Is there a few frames there missing? Maybe? Or... I think actually that's just how the cut is in game. It's a nice shot of the machete strap to Chris's back there. Let's see how it did. Oh, I did it twice. You know, if I had turned that wheel when we were in the oil refinery, I probably would have been fine on time. But no, I had to take my time. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I can recommend. Let's see. Yes, if you were playing through this game, what should you be doing here? Yeah, remove the grenade. Just make sure all the weapons are loaded. The next section isn't going to require any special armaments or anything. If you'll notice, I think I may have stupidly reloaded all my weapons except for the Magnum. Before coming here and reloading them there by gaining extra shells. Shells, I think. Or rounds. Stupidly, I did that. I do that quite often doing this playthrough, even though I don't recommend doing it, because you can get a lot of free... See, I remember doing it with the Magnum. I don't know why I don't remember doing it with the shotgun. No, I'm not gonna... Yes, I'm not gonna upgrade it. Why did I take... The magnum, that actually may be useful in the next one. Oh no, now I remember what's coming up. Yeah, I'm sort of recording this a few weeks after I've played through this. You know, I'm recording these a few weeks after I played through the game and got the footage. So I'm far enough away that I forget, you know, some of the small details, but remember, you know, some of the, you know, larger, you know, things sort of stay in my mind, but not enough to remember, okay, there's a guy there, there's a guy there, there's a guy there. So we're giving chase in our little boat. We're giving chase after... Why are we stopped?
What happened to Irving?
Wait, you left like
Wait.
a minute and a half after him. Yeah, he can't have gone. He had like 80 seconds head lead on you guys. Like, was his boat really that low? Flaming arrow.
Take me later. We go to Irving.
I'm on.
Angry guys following us on boats. Have you heard the good word? I wish I was better at improv, because there could have been a really funny line when those guys came flying up on us. But no, I didn't have anything. Maybe in the future I'll try to write something down. But yeah, so this is an interesting sort of gameplay diversion to spice things up a bit. So basically, what we're here is you know, we're gonna be going through a series of, I wouldn't call them locks, but sort of through a series of stops. Yeah, I guess I should call them locks. But for this part, then we have to sort of open in order to speed up our progress. But on this part, we're on a boat. And as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble you know, there's guys shooting us, and you can see sort of because of the momentum of the boat, having a bit of trouble lining up my shots. But you know, there are those explosive things there that you can, you know, you should definitely use in order to kill the bad guys. Okay, so here we are at our first lock. This one's, you know, relatively low-key and easy. You know, sort of, there's a word that describes gameplay like this, where basically, you know, you do 2 or 3 things, you know, 2 or 3 gameplay things of similar type in a row. Like the best way to describe it is if you ever played Super Mario Brothers, at the end of the first level, World 1-1, you know, there's the area with the towards the end. You know, there's the area, you know, with like the steep platforms, steep up, and if you fall down in between, you know, you have to jump between, sort of like, look like pyramids or ziggurats, and if you fall down, you know, you land in like some flowers or some grass and like nothing bad, and you can just jump out. But the next time, you know, it's the same exact basically formation, but if you fall down, you'll fall into a pit. You know, I don't think I'm really doing it justice, but you know, anyone who's played that level of Super Mario Bros. Probably knows what I'm talking about. You know, probably the most famous level in video game history. After maybe, you know, maybe up there, maybe tied with like, ooh, there's a bouncing grenade. How did Chris not get hit by that? Maybe tied with the first level Pac-Man. But yeah, this is with the, you know, these 2 sections of the game, you know, basically, I think it happens 3 times where you have to. I'm trying to hit that barrel behind that guy, but I can't. He's in the way. Ooh, got hit by the grenade he threw. But basically, there's 2 or 3 of these locks in succession. Where you have to jump off the boat, and find the switch to hit. And basically, you know, this first one is just preparing you for what's coming up. For teaching the motion scheme. I really wish I forgot to remember the word for that. But basically, you know, the game, you know, puts you in a situation so as to teach you and so you can learn how to handle similar situations coming up. I just like this part where I'm on the boat, sort of firing these barrels, is a way to, you know, sort of prove my marksmanship in the game. Especially when I'm playing with friends, you know, because usually this is a game I own, and this is a game that, you know, friends will come over and we'll play. So I have a bit more experience with them. It's just fun to show. You see that bear? You see that tiny little target? I got it. You know, I always think, I always like to think, that in shooters in particular, the characters exist in a world without video games. Because in real life, if I was, a henchman in real life, and I would A, do my best to make sure there were no explosive barrels around, and B, if there were, make sure my best not to stand right freaking next to them. Red barrels always explode when shot. Why would anyone stand next to them? Hey Bill, did you hear about Joe? Oh no, what happened? Oh, I was standing next to a red barrel. He got blown up. Wow. You think we should get rid of these red barrels in our hideout here? What are you, crazy? Hey, it's the atmosphere. Oh, what am I getting? Ooh, jeez. There must be some guy on like a. Yeah, there's some guy on a turret. Well, actually, he didn't open. Oh, you see, I must have. Maybe it's. Oh, geez, Sheva. No, I don't need that egg. Whatever. Oh, right, because there's a shotgun here. Yeah, ran over here to pick up the shotgun. I'm not gonna really be using the shotgun in the game, but. Ooh. Yeah, just touch her on the boob and then I'll make her feel better. And chicks if you let the chick know, that you're attracted to her, that'll revive her from your death apparently. Did I get the guy? Nope. Ooh, there's two guys on turrets. It looks like. Damn, this pissed me off. You have to touch her on the boob again. So let her know you get the hots for her. That'll make her feel better. There's just going. Ah, there I go. Now I see him. Nope, didn't hit him. Too much ridicule. There we go. I saw the blood spurt. Yeah, okay. Give Sheva that shotgun just so she has a weapon if she wants to use it. I don't think she'll switch to it unless she runs out of ammo for other guns. Even though I bought Sheva a pistol. Oh, treasure over there. Even though I bought Sheva a pistol, I would not recommend you actually giving her any handgun ammo, just because she'll eat through it all. And you find more than enough handgun ammo in each level, that, or chapter, whatever you want to call it, that she'll certainly be able to reload her gun. But yeah, I would not recommend actually giving her any extra ammo at the beginning of the stage. I can already tell that, I realized this before I remembered it, that there are a switch on each side of this bridge, and Sheva and I are going to split up to hit him. How can I tell that? Because the last time there was only one switch. So this time there's probably two. I kind of wish, because you can use that turret there, but there's really no sense to it because by the time you get here, you've killed the guys. So I kind of wish, like, when you got here, like, more guys, like, sort of sped up on boats. Ooh, a big emerald. That would be worse. I kind of wish, like, once you got to, like, a certain port of the, because it's, like, it gives you the idea that, we have used the turret, but I complained about it last time. The last time it was dumb, but this time it could be cool. I wonder if shooting these barrels that have, items inside, I wonder if that decreases your accuracy. I don't think so. Like, right there. Like, I just wasted that round. Does that decrease my accuracy? I don't know.
Okay, get the lever over
Yep,
there.
have Sheva do that one. Because, well, first, have to knife the barrel with the gold. Gotta do that, of course. But then I'll jump across the gap here. Chris, like, flailed his arms and everything. That was like a foot gap, I think. Yeah, you see, it's like there was the turret there, and there's these places. There's the turret there, up there, and as you just saw before I pulled the lever, there was a place I could take cover, which kind of tells me, like, maybe on higher levels it's the case that enemies rush in, but maybe at one point, during development. Oh, okay, there are a couple guys that are running in. Yeah, so I mean, I guess there's some. So presumably on higher difficulties, more guys would be running in. But is he gonna? Yeah, he falls down into the water, and those guys can't swim. Once you're infected with the parasite, it takes away your fine motor skills, except your ability to swing bludgeons and shoot crossbows. But the combination of the cover and the in-place gun that you can get to sort of tells me that at some point during development, maybe there was like a firefight. That was a weird dissolve. Oh, because it was dissolved into a cutscene. And now we're in this like mangrove swamp. Like, where are all of these locations? What part of Africa are we? It's such that there's, you know, a seaside town. You know, like a town. You know, where we started in Kajuju looked like, you know, sort of sub-Saharan Africa, completely, you know, no water whatsoever I wanted access to a seaside port, to like the savannah area where we were in the Jeep, to like the marshes, swamps where we just were last episode, to the oil refinery, to now this like mangrove swamp. Like, where are we in Africa? I really want to know. Please, someone watching this knows. Like, please leave a comment telling me like what African nation this could possibly be. Okay, we're gonna jump onto the boat, right? Oh, there's my friend. Okay, this is the scene that told me Irving looked just like my friend Matt, because he looks just like my friend Matt. You're just one of Excella's playthings. What accent? That's a lot of gold. When is this supposed to be taking place? Is this like use? Don't worry, I have this. Was that after she saved him in like the mine area? You're making me look bad. You know, he's kind of funny. So what's Irving's role? Is he funding it? Again, that delivery just reinforced, that Sheva's delivery in that line just reinforced the idea that she's Australian. Ooh. He had bad Chinese for lunch. This just tells you, kids, make sure to ask for no MSG. Because this is what'll happen. Honestly, this same exact thing has happened to me before. I had a bad headache the next day. You know, doesn't everyone just hate it when all of a sudden, you know, tentacles spring out of their back? You know, I like how nonplussed Chris and Sheva are by that. You know, they shoot at him, but it's like, just another day at the office. Wow, he mutated really fast. Presumably these are from Irving. Jesus, that was like 45 seconds, maybe a minute. Even though that line is so cheesy, it does kind of make me laugh a little. Just like his delivery and like the context of it, it's like so incongruous to what's going on. Yeah, this is another section of the game where it actually helps to have Sheva, because otherwise you would not know what to do here.
We'll try to stop it.
So there's the serving E-Mon. So there's the Irving Sea Monster. So what you're supposed to do is, if you see what I'm doing right now, you see there's a so like a pulsating spot, like a bulb on his forehead. You're supposed to shoot at that. But honestly, I only knew that because I was playing with the because I was playing with the AI, which eventually something if you don't do anything will tell you. Yeah, there's two types of guns on the ship you can use. There's the machine gun, and then there's this really slow firing, slow reloading rocket launcher thing. Or grenade launcher. It does a lot more damage, but as you see, it fires slowly, and takes so long to reload. It's almost not worth it. So yeah, what happens here is, you know, it starts off with the Irving Sea Monster swimming, and actually, like right now, it's swimming on the side.
Must have a weakness.
Why? Why must it have a weakness? That's like saying, you know, because the car is blue, it must have a weakness. You know, like, although maybe it's something in Resident Evil lore that I'm not aware of. That, you know, rapid transformations mean it has a weakness. Yeah, but what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to shoot at the Irving monster on the sea monster on the side with the weak point, and then the tentacles will come up and you shoot the tentacles. Then it should go back down and you have to shoot at the little bulb again. And then eventually the sort of second stage of the battle will fight. But up to that point, you know, this can actually
not difficult because, you know, the tentacles and the attacks are really easy to avoid. Just because Sheva, what? Oh, do you have to tell? Yeah, you have to tell Sheva to use the turret. Otherwise, she'll just shoot it with the gun, with her gun. Yeah, just waste ammo. Thanks a lot. Like, she's not smart enough. You know, eventually she's smart to tell you. You know, she's smart to give you advice, but not smart enough, you know, to use the frickin', you know, turrets on the ship. It's just really grinding my gears. You know, because I'm a mechanical man, so you know, it decreases the lubrication of my gears. Yeah, that wasn't even a joke. That was a bit of a stretch. Yeah, shoot the weak point. It's a cliche, but shoot the weak point. What's she actually doing? Ooh, no, she's just standing behind, whispering encouragements in my ear. Chris, shoot the weak point. I think eventually I tell her to man a turret, but no. You gotta lead it with the. Yeah, you see, those are. Why would I even use the rocket? You could probably do this battle with the grenades if you're really good, but I just didn't have the patience to throw line up each shot. So instead, I'm just gonna waste a bunch of ammo and probably bring my accuracy down to the dumps. But on like, I don't care. I'm not playing this to get high grades. Actually, she's a good shot with it. Okay, I think now we're going to the next stage of the... No? Okay, if I was on the other side there, I could have shot the weak point. Yep. Next stage of the battle. Okay, so the next sort of stage of the battle here is Irving will come, the Irving monster will come behind it. Us in the boat. And we'll understand what he does until he does it. Yep, okay, now it is. He latches onto the boat like that, and Irving has been turned into the tongue of this creature. It's almost as if, like, this creature was, like, flying by, like, swimming by, and, like, Irving started using, like, attached to it, because that's kind of what, it doesn't look like, it looks like Irving's just, like, superfluous to it. You know, he's the little, you know, he's the tongue. Okay, so you just shoot the Irving, and shoot Irving, and shoot the... On subsequent playthroughs, this is much easier because you have the rocket launcher, and I think one hit from the rocket launcher to Irving will just end the battle. Actually, that reminds me, this is another fight that's really similar to one in Resident Evil 4. There's a part about, I'd say maybe 3/4 of the way through that, where one of the bad guys, Salazar, will sort of undergo a transformation and merge with the giant plant, and basically become affixed to the plant, like Irving is here, you know, sort of like, you know, like a centerpiece of the plant, and if you just shoot him, it becomes invulnerable, and oh, battle's over. And one rocket hit will kill that guy. Yeah, this is another. Ooh, the thing just bit off its own tongue, which was Irving, and he went flying onto the deck of the, you know, deck of the ship. Ooh, yeah, he doesn't look so nice anymore. Oops. No, you weren't, Irving. Excella? Who's Excella?
What is the Ouroboros project?
What facility? You still...
What's changing? What are you talking about?
You're not completely oblivious to it. You're aware that the balance is changing. You're just not aware how it's changing. Okay, how is that? Is it Ouroboros? Ouroboros? Ouroboros. See, he pronounced it differently. Well, look at his... He's like where his hair once was is like tentacles. That looks painful.
How do you know about me?
All your answers away
He does look like he's a lot of pain.
in that cave.
Wikipedia.
Survive long enough to get them.
Facebook. What cave?
Italian's not
Did he like point somewhere?
but it's not gonna change
I didn't see him point anywhere. Did you see a cave? I didn't see a cave.
Wasting time here.
Irving is just like so delightfully insane. Ooh. And like all enemies in this game, he dissolves when he's dead.
We keep going.
So what about this cave? Wow, how descriptive. And with that, dear viewer, we are done once again. So as usual, thanks for watching.
Hope you've enjoyed this episode 5 of Let's Examine Resident Evil 5. And as always, if you want to, post a comment below. And we'll see you next time as Chris and Sheva journey into the mysterious cave.